Secret Life of Walter Mitty is one of my favorite crazy journeys of a lifetime, and where he goes on this journey to try to track down this Sean Penn character, and at the end he's been tracking a snow leopard, and he has a camera, and this guy is getting up everything to find this guy, taking this shot while the Life magazine is going to be over with. It's the end of the story of this guy finds this alpha male in the middle of like Afghanistan, and he sees a snow leopard, and he has the camera, and he's looking at it, and this other guy's with him, and he goes, has him look through the view climber. He goes, "Where are you going to take the picture?" And he said, "No. Sometimes I just like to look. I just want to be there." Well, Walter Mitty at one point was a volcano was going to come in Iceland. He did some longboard skating. I was doing walking 20 to 15 miles a day in Wales at one point, trying to promote the charity. And I decided, because of Walter Mitty, I was going to get a skateboard. And so I was going to skateboard around and have the shield for the charity. I made an oaken shield for the charity. You've held the metal one. I had an oak one over in Wales, and I'm skateboarding around with it. Of course it wiped out. It broke my bones. The point is, you see these inspirational things, and maybe that's what the metaverse can be, kind of like these movies.
Right.
These trailers
Hold on, Zach.
for a real adventure.
Hold on, man. You gotta tell that story. It's the stupidest story ever.
Which one?
So he's skateboarding.
Okay, well,
After being inspired by Walter Mitty.
After being inspired by Walter Mitty, I'm doing 15 miles a day because Joe DeSena asked me.
No. He crashes a skateboard with the shield.
With the shield.
And he separates his elbow, right?
Elbow. I dislocated my elbow. I had the shield over. It broke in front of the Angel Hotel in Cardiff. I was staying at a hostel, and I was going around the corner, and I felt like the Holy Spirit was saying to me, I was getting off the train, "You probably shouldn't use the shield and the skateboard together. It's a bad idea."
Yeah.
And I said, "That sounds great." But some girl thought I had the kilt on, and I was carving it down. As soon as I get back to the hostel, I'm going to just only skateboard. Or do the shield. That's a great idea. I'm going around, and right in front of the youth hostel at the Angel Hotel, right in front of the castle, downtown Cardiff, there is a tile in the sidewalk that it wasn't filled in, and my trucks hit it.
Oof.
And it threw me over, and so now the shield's braced to my arm. So it goes over, I fly down, I break and dislocate my elbow. The shield lands on my toes and smashes them, throws me over there, puts a weird bump that stayed on my elbow for 4 years.
Yeah.
Rolled over, slightly concussed me, and 5 days later I had a Spartan race I needed to do with a wheelchair athlete. Anyway, just because I watched a movie of Walter, because I was inspired by Walter Mitty,
that's what gets you into trouble. But
sliding,
there's risk.
Sliding down a mountain on a longboard with I think it was Monsters and Men playing this great song, going this epic moment.
Nope.
Didn't happen.
No.
It changed everything. It changed the direction of it. But
Humbling. Yeah. And funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I learned about free healthcare, which I'm really jealous about. I was like, I got there, I was like, they're like, "What seems to be the problem, sir?" I was like, "I think I broke my elbow and dislocated this, that." They immediately handed me drugs. I was only in there for I thought as an American I was going to be in the hospital for like 16 days. Mm-hmm. Hour and a half later, I'm being seen. They're like, "What do you think happened?" They go, "That seems reasonable." They looked at it, they gave me the drug, they set it up. I came back for a follow-up appointment. It costed me nothing. Other than my pride.
Other than your pride, yeah.
But I think those moments where you fall down in the real world, you got to fall down and go boom to prepare yourself for when you fall down and go boom in the end. They're painful and they're scary, but it's how you crack the egg.
Well, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
How important is pain?
Our whole problem with the metaverse and the pornography and the medication world is we're trying to say the pain itself is bad. So when we say more heart than scars, we're trying to people don't want to lean into the scar. They don't want to lean into the pain. They want to avoid.
You're not saying no scars.
We're saying
more heart
than scars.
scars.
Yeah, the scar is the part of it. And to avoid the pain, actually creates more pain.
I think it's really important, right? Like, if the thing like metaverse, all these things, overusing technology, over communicating, are ways to avoid discomfort and pain, that's not good, right? Because like you just said, pain is a part of life. So you need to have some capacity to be with pain. Otherwise, it's going to be even worse
Right.
for you. So I think in my experience, pain just, if you don't include it and you don't know how to befriend it, you start to think that it shouldn't be there.
Right.
One of the phrases that I really like from Buddhism, I'm not Buddhist, but I know of the saying, suffering exists. So one of the tenets of Buddhism,
Right. The world is
before the
permeated by
Buddha would
suffering.
even teach people, he would say, before we even get started into this
Right.
whole enlightenment thing, there's one thing you need to know. Suffering exists.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It means that it's a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here to alleviate suffering, not to think that we are not ever going to have it, or we're
Right.
entitled to not have it, or that if I just meditate more, maybe I'll never have any more pain again. Like, pain is a part of life.
Absolutely.
Suffering exists, and if you're not comfortable with it,
Right.
you're going to have a very hard time, because
Yeah.
it's a part of being
It's in the
human.
it's in the birth process.
from the,
it's
more,
in the
from the
death
time
process.
you're born, right?
It's in certain levels of pleasure and enjoyment. I mean, there's a lot of, like, I love snowboarding, but there's a lot of pain and suffering. The older I get, just clicking my boots in when I'm sitting
Yeah.
down, like, oh, there's gonna be pain along the way.
There's like, I use, like, when I'm coaching people, I sometimes use the word, like, we talk about, like, going to your edge, right? It's
Yeah.
like, when are you at your happiest? Like, for a lot of people, especially men, it's like, when I'm at my edge, when I go
Right.
to my edge, it's like, okay, well, what is that? Like, okay, well, when I'm doing this thing, or when I'm exercising, or when I'm leading people, I'm really, like, I'm being as authentic as I can, and I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable, and then I'll take risks and say things I intuitively feel are the best things to say in that situation. And then I learn, because
Yeah.
we learn from taking risks. But there's pain in that. So, like, even when I think about, like, what feels like a really good day to me, like, if I actually document what I did during the day and my emotional state, there's both pain and pleasure. And the pleasure often comes after the pain.
Right.
It doesn't start with pleasure and stay with pleasure.
No.
There's often
No.
a weaving throughout the day of, like,
Right.
well, if I exercise well or hard enough today, that's going to produce something, and it's
Right.
going to be painful,
Yeah.
but it's going to produce, obviously, like, chemical effects in my body.
And make you hungry.
And make me hungry, and I'm going to enjoy my food more,
Right.
whatever.
Hunger is the best spice.
And if I feel the pain of, like, doing that thing I'm avoiding, whether it's writing a business plan or whatever, I'm going to feel better.
Right.
But it's going to be painful, maybe initially or during that process.
Right.
So I think, if you ever think of the things in your life that you've done that are difficult, or that you had to complete, there's always pain involved with it. Like, if I wrote this book, and I talk about a lot of the things I learned, but there's a lot that's not in the book. Like, the times when I'm crying my eyes out, and, like, feeling like, an idiot for doing this
Right.
journey, and, like, the physical pain, all of those things, I wouldn't have been able to, have the other things without that.